I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Fulcher just talked about, because it was said earlier that this issue was not invented in 2020. So that's correct, but it has been put on overdrive here in America. And yesterday on the floor of the House, I think Representative Cole said it very well, always in his measured tones. When he talked about Jay Johnson, who was the secretary during the Biden administration, he defined a crisis as 1,000 people a day coming across the southern border illegally. There's now 10,000 a day. This is a direct result of January 20th of 2021, when President Biden announced that there will be open borders to the world, and everyone heard that. And all the maladies that come with that are happening, including trashing our federal lands down on the southern border. Well, and in New York City and many other places. I mean, it is a direct result of one person's actions and one administration's actions. Mr. Heithaker, why are you here today?
Well, you asked me to be here. That's one reason, and to represent the stance that the U.S. Forest Service has.
To testify on behalf of the Forest Service, right?
Absolutely.
And the Forest Service is testifying today because you received an invitation from the subcommittee to be here today over 2 weeks ago, which you complied with, correct?
Correct.
Can you think of any reason why the Forest Service was able to show up and testify before us today when your colleagues at the Department of Interior were unable to do so?
I can't speak to why the Park Service isn't here, but I'm happy to be here and happy to answer your questions.
Is U.S. Forest Service housing illegal immigrants? You said something about funds for housing that are being allocated from the Forest Service. Is the Forest Service using funds to house illegal immigrants?
No, we're not.
Not even indirectly?
Nope.
You said that some of this bill that we introduced, the Trash Act, is already provided under the law, that it's unnecessary, right? So why isn't it being enforced?
If you look at our numbers of law enforcement, we have roughly little over 400 law enforcement officers in the field. That's over 193 million acres. You can do the math on the challenges there that they have in patrolling those lands. It's difficult.
Does the Forest Service ever work with the Department of Homeland Security in any way?
We work very closely with Homeland Security as well as Customs and Border Protection.
Shouldn't they be enforcing? You say it's already provided under the law. Shouldn't they be enforcing this if you can't?
Are you asking, should Customs and Border Protection be providing protection over the environmental laws?
Should they be enforcing a law to not allow people to be able to come across the southern border illegally on federal lands that are under your jurisdiction?
Yes, they currently do. And that's part of an agreement that we've had in place for over 15 years now with Customs and Border Protection.
So they have control of the southern border?
They have jurisdiction to implement their laws that they follow on the southern border on National Forest System lands.
You're not saying what Secretary Mayorkas said, that yes, we have control of the southern border, when the head of the Border Patrol said this year we no longer have operational control of the southern border. You wouldn't be making the same statement as Secretary Mayorkas, would you?
If I understand what you're asking correctly, no, we have acknowledged that there is a huge and significant border management issue down there.
Thank you. Ms. Ariola, how have things changed since the last time you were here? How long ago was that? Was that 2 months ago?
It was less. It was just a few weeks ago.
Just a few weeks ago. Have things changed for the better in New York City?
They have not. Our numbers have risen to 119,600 that we have in our care, and over 126,000 total if you count the gotaways.
Okay, so the situation is getting worse in New York City.
It's getting worse every day. We're getting anywhere from 800 to 1,000 migrants per week.
There was a representative from New York who said just last week that we should allow Palestinian refugees into America, and in particular, they would be welcomed in New York City. Do you think that's a good idea to do that at this time?
I do not. There is no more room in New York City.
Thank you. My time is up here.